In today's world, stress has become so familiar that many people no longer recognize it as something unusual. It slips quietly into the morning before the day has fully begun. It rides along in traffic. It sits beside us at work, follows us home, and waits patiently for us when the lights go out at night. Over time, we stop questioning it. We tell ourselves that everyone feels this way, that pressure is simply the price of being responsible, that carrying heavy thoughts proves we care, that it means we are doing our best. But what if the greatest weight in our lives is not the problems themselves, but the way we hold on to them? What if the true source of exhaustion is not how difficult life is, but how rarely we allow our minds to rest? This is not a story about escaping responsibility or pretending challenges do not exist. It is a story about understanding how stress quietly grows, how the human mind was designed to work, and how wisdom is often hidden inside the simplest moments. It is a story that once changed the atmosphere of an entire classroom, and it may gently change the way you see the worries you carry today. In a city known for its constant motion, where traffic lights never seemed to rest and people measured their lives in deadlines instead of daylight, there stood an old academic hall made of stone and glass. The building had seen generations of students pass through its doors, each carrying dreams, doubts, expectations, and fear. Inside this hall taught a professor named Elias Rowan. Professor Rowan was not famous beyond the campus. He had no television appearances, no viral speeches, no best-selling books displayed in airport bookstores. Yet among students and colleagues, he was deeply respected. People spoke of him with quiet admiration, not because he overwhelmed others with intelligence, but because he had a rare gift. He could explain the most complicated truths in simple, human language. He moved slowly. He spoke gently. And when he addressed a room, people listened, not because they were required to, but because something in his presence invited attention. His lectures were never loud. They were calm, thoughtful, and strangely comforting, as if he understood not only the subject he taught, but the invisible weight his students carried with them each day. One morning, as pale sunlight filtered through tall windows and dust drifted softly in the air, Professor Rowan entered the classroom carrying only a small notebook and a clear glass of water filled halfway. The students were already seated. Some sat upright, prepared and focused. Others leaned back, tired from late nights. Many stared ahead with a distant look of minds already busy with worries about exams, careers, family expectations, money, and uncertain futures. Without opening his notebook, Professor Rowan stood quietly at the front of the room. He lifted the glass of water and held it up so everyone could see. The room grew still. Then he asked a simple question. "Can anyone tell me how much this glass of water weighs?" Hands rose immediately. One student guessed 200 grams, another suggested 300. A third said 350 with confident certainty. Professor Rowan nodded at each answer, smiling gently, as though every response held some truth. "All reasonable guesses," he said calmly. "But the truth is, I don't actually know the exact weight of this glass, and for what I want to teach you today, it doesn't matter at all." The students exchanged puzzled looks. The professor continued, "If I hold this glass for 2 minutes, what will happen?" "Nothing," several students answered. He nodded. "Correct. Now what if I hold it for 2 hours?" After a brief pause, someone said, "Your arm will start to hurt." Another added, "Your muscles will feel strained." "And if I hold it for an entire day?" Professor Rowan asked. This time the room grew quiet. Then a thoughtful student spoke. "Your hand might go numb. Your muscles could be under extreme stress. You could even injure yourself." Professor Rowan smiled softly. "Exactly." He paused, letting the words settle. Then he asked another question. "Has the weight of the glass changed since I first lifted it?" "No," the students answered together. The professor looked slowly across the room, meeting their eyes one by one. Then he asked his final question. "So what should I do to stop the pain?" There was a short silence. Then one student said quietly, "Put the glass down." Professor Rowan gently placed the glass on the desk in front of him. "Yes," he said, "that is the answer." The room remained silent as the meaning began to unfold. He explained that life's problems work in much the same way. A worry held briefly causes little harm. A concern thought about for a few minutes may even be useful. But when a worry is held for hours, it begins to strain the mind. When it is carried all day, it drains focus and energy. Held for weeks, months, or years, it quietly steals peace, health, and joy. The problem itself does not become heavier. The glass does not gain weight. What changes is how long we refuse to put it down. Stress, he explained, does not come from having too many problems. It comes from holding on to problems longer than necessary. Professor Rowan walked slowly across the front of the classroom. He spoke about how the human mind was never designed to carry unresolved tension without rest. Just as the body requires sleep and recovery, the mind needs moments of release. Without release, even small burdens feel unbearable. He spoke about how people replay the same thoughts again and again, conversations that went wrong, words they wish they had said differently, decisions they regret, fears about the future that have not yet happened. They carry these thoughts into their work, their relationships, and even into sleep. Then they wake up exhausted, wondering why rest no longer feels refreshing. Putting the glass down, he explained, does not mean ignoring responsibility. It does not mean avoiding problems or pretending life is easy. It means choosing when and how to carry what matters. Wise people act when action is possible. They reflect when reflection is useful. And they rest when neither action nor reflection will help. Rest, he reminded them, is not laziness. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. To make the lesson more personal, Professor Rowan shared a moment from his own life. Years earlier, he had faced an important decision that followed him everywhere. He thought about it while teaching. He thought about it while eating. He thought about it late at night, imagining conversations that had not yet occurred and outcomes that might never happen. The more he thought, the heavier the decision became, the more exhausted he felt. One day, overwhelmed and frustrated, he spoke to a mentor he trusted. After listening quietly, the mentor asked him a single question. "What decision can you make today?" At first, Professor Rowan felt confused. He realized he had been searching for certainty, for a perfect answer that would remove all risk. But endless thinking had not created new options. It had only created more tension. That day, he made the decision that was available to him. Not because it guaranteed success, but because it allowed movement. And the moment he chose, the weight lifted. The problem did not disappear overnight, but the burden did. He explained to his students that clarity often follows action, not the other way around. He then spoke about fear of the future, explaining that it is often the heaviest glass people carry. The future exists only in imagination. Planning is healthy. Preparation is wise. But worrying endlessly about what may never happen drains energy without offering solutions. People suffer twice, he said, once in their minds and again in reality, if the problem even occurs at all. Preparation leads to readiness. Rumination leads to exhaustion. If something can be done today, do it. If nothing can be done today, put the glass down until action becomes possible. As the lesson came to an end, Professor Rowan returned his attention to the glass of water resting quietly on the desk. He reminded the students that peace is not found by eliminating every problem. It is found by learning when to let go. He asked them to consider silently what glass they were holding. A fear, a regret, a pressure they had carried for far too long, and how long they had been holding it. When the bell rang, the students stood and left the room in near silence. not because they were sad, but because something inside them had shifted. Their problems were still waiting, but their hearts felt lighter. Their minds felt clearer. They had learned that not every burden needs to be carried every moment. If this story spoke to you, take a moment today to put the glass down. You do not need to solve everything at once. You do not need to carry tomorrow's worries through today. Breathe, rest. Allow your mind to release what it cannot fix right now. If you found value in this story, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss more stories that bring clarity, calm, and perspective. Thank you for spending your time here. May you find peace in your thoughts, strength in your actions, and lightness in your heart.